Good morning, students. Welcome to again in class 9, where we are continuing the discussion of history. The chapter is Russian Revolution, and which first start from the socialism in Europe, because Russia is the largest country of the world and it is the part of Europe. It is not true that all its parts lie in the Europe itself. Its parts were also lying in Asia. After 1991, the disintegration of Russia made the 15 new countries. Still, it is the largest country in the world. Think the situations before 1991, when all these countries were the part of Russia. How big it might have been. Russian population increased during the 18th and the 19th century very at a rapid rate, fast rate. We have already discussed that the Russian society was actually the agrarian society. Why do we say it? We do say it because 85% of the population of Russia was dependent on agriculture. Industrial revolutions were limited. Means actually industrial revolution had not taken place in Russia, it had taken place in the other European countries. The industrial revolution had first started in Great Britain, then the France and other European countries, but it had not reached. Even though the Russia had the deposit of coal and iron ore, and these two materials are necessary for the industrial development, and Russia was rich in coal and iron ore. We have also discussed that in Russia a social change was taking place. In this social change, the three views came in front about whom we have discussed it. One was the liberals, another one was the radicals, and the one was the conservatives. We have discussed about the policy of the liberals, radicals, and conservative. We have seen and read about the ideology of these two. As far as the conservatives are concerned, they were not interested in a change or much change. Only after the French Revolution, yes, they agreed a change because they thought some changes are inevitable, it cannot be stopped. But they said that the past should be respected and change should be at the slow rate. But where these two groups are concerned, these were wanting a change in the society. Now we will discuss it in the two basic differences, two basic platforms. One was the Russia on the industrialization, industries. Establishment of industries and the implications and society, how the industrial society developed in Russia. Then we will discuss about the socialism, social society, how the society were being changed in the Russia. These two things that we have to keep in mind. We will discuss separately about the industrialization or industries society, industrial society, as well as the socialist society, and how these two were important in bringing the Russian revolutions? What were their role? Before I do start, I will first discuss about the industrial society. Industries were found in the pockets. Pockets means it was very few in numbers. It means it was located in the few places. One was Moscow. And at that time, St. Petersburg. Now, this name does not exist, it has changed. The St. Petersburg and the Moscow were the industrial region, industrial area. St. Petersburg has been changed first in 1914. Its name changed Petrograd. 1914 is the starting of the First World War. And why its name changed? Because St. Petersburg's name was resembling to the German words, and these peoples were fighting against the German. That's why in 1914 this changed. Again, the name of this place changed in 1924 and it became Leningrad. Now it is a Leningrad. About the Lenin, we would read in the Russian Revolution. The role I had given you that when the Russian Social Democratic Labour Party was finally split in 1912, then the majority group was the Bolshevik. It was led by the Lenin, who had a great role in the Russian Revolution. It means the industries was limited. Even they had the resources, they were not able to utilize their resources, means coal and iron ore. At the same time, just a little bit before it, in 1861, Alexander II, the Tsar Alexander II had removed the means made the serf free. Serfdom was abolished. Abolition of serfdom means there was a more labor, wages, labor in the market. For the industrializations, we say Alexander's role was very important because he made the serf free. They were not dependent. Now they could purchase the land and they become a wages labor force in the market. Now the peoples had started productions because industries also depends on the agriculture. We know that agro-based industries are there. The peoples started the productions. Wheat. We know that wheat. Still, the Russia is the wheat productions on the large scale. And in the wheat productions, it became the largest producer and exporters of the wheat in the world. Recently, data says that the world export of wheat, the Russia thus claim around 36%, around a little bit more than the 36% of the world export of wheat. Then they emphasize on the sugar beet. Don't get confused about the sugar beet and the beetroot. Beetroot that we find today, that is chukandar, and sugar beet. It is a basic, although both belong to the same family, but a little bit difference is there. The sugar beet is white in color and their size is bigger than the beetroot and average the weight and size of the sugar beet varies from 500 grams to 1 kg. It requires 500 gram to 1 kg and it contains 20% of sugar, means a starch contains. 75% is water. It contains 75% water and 5% as a fiber. If we use the sugar cane today, it contains 12 to 16% sugar. In our country, we are producing sugar by using the sugar cane and its contents of a starch is 12 to 16%, but the sugar beet contains the starch that is 20%. Beetroot also contains almost the same 20%. In Russia, they were producing the sugar beet for the production of sugar. It became the cash crops. So peoples, since they were agricultural peoples, they emphasized their efforts to produce it. It means they were supporting one industries, that was the sugar industries. The peoples also started the production of cotton. Cotton, so it supported the raw materials for the cotton industries. We know that industries require the raw materials. It can be established at the place where raw materials is available. It means these things supported the agricultures. In the same time, the foreign investment came, and due to foreign investment, the railway expanded, and it is said by the 1900 it was 32,000 kilometers of rail network. 32,000 kilometers of rail network, and it was due to the collaborations and due to the investment of foreign countries. You can see it was a FDI, foreign direct investment. Due to it expanded. Due to the serfdom that 1861 the Alexander II headed it, according to it 1.4 millions were the factory workers, and among the 1.4 millions factory workers were there, mostly were engaged in the cotton industries, means cotton textile industries. That we have discussed that production of cotton, it means they had supported the industries, and which industries? Cotton industries, means textile industries. They had producing the sugar beet, they were producing the sugar industries, and the wheat they were exporting it. Still Russia is the largest exporters. Now since the factory was limited in the few areas, most of the work were done by the craftspersons. In industries were less. And when the people started investing, means foreign people started investing, the number of factory increased. When this number of factory increased, it made the people from the rural area to throng into the cities. ये लेबर कहाँ से आ गए? These labor were actually the serfs, which means landless peoples who were doing the work under the nobles. They got the free after 1861 act that was introduced by the Alexander II. They started coming to the cities. When the population of city increased, you may imagine what problem the peoples may face. First problem of housing and sanitation. In your city, if you see, you find that sanitation is not good even after the efforts of the government. Sanitation is not reaching so its maximum utilizations because the population is increasing very fast. At the time industrializations, the men, the females and the children flocked to the cities, and it was the starting of the compact settlement. So there was a problem for housing as well as the sanitations. These peoples had to work hard, and they were working an average 10 to 12 hours in factory. Out of 24 hours, they had to work 10 to 12 hours in factory. In the small factory, the time was even increasing. It was going up to the 15 hours. Even though the inspectors were appointed, but their laws were violated. They were being paid less. Women who constitute the 31%, women labor force who were constituting the 31% of the total labor force. Women 31% of the labor force, it was women, but payment less 50% to 75% of men payment. It means we see there were much exploitation in the industries also. In the industries, unemployment was common. At the time when the demand were less, and unemployment becomes more common during when the demand is less, and in the textile and garments industries. At the times, the laborers had no any source of income, and when the labor had no source of income, many laborers formed the associations to support the labor in the time of crisis. Means when they require the money, and when they require the money when they don't have the employment. It means these were being made, it means this was a starting of combinations groups. Settle means socialism, समाज के लिए, not to think about themselves only to think about the society also. Just think the peoples or the laborers who had made the associations, not to help themselves, to help all those who were the part of the labor force not related to this one in the time of crisis. It means it was a social value. We do think that it was the starting of the social value. The workers or the laborers were also divided on the many bases. On the skill, they were also divided. The metal workers considered themselves as the aristocrat of the working force, labor force. Why so? Because it required more skill and training. The laborers were also divided, it could be seen on the basis of their uniform of dress. Means dress, not uniform, we can say dress. जो पहनते थे, they were finding themselves. Few laborers or industrial workers had the deep contact with their villages. गांव से उनका संबंध था ही. And few, we give the examples, we can see the examples, they had settled in the cities. Some settled in the cities, some had the relation with a strong relation with the village. These peoples were in all the crisis and communism. Then they find the role of radicals and liberals also. Liberals and radicals, we have read about it. Their ideology, we have read it. They were thinking that it is the labor force which provide us the profit, because most of the radicals and liberals were the factory owners, and they think that we can increase the production only when the laborers are healthy and educated. These things these peoples had been thinking before the revolution. Still today, the world recognizes the importance of education in the labor force. You may say, what are the basic importance? सबसे बड़ी बात बता दो कि our resources are limited, and if the labor force are educated enough, then the wastage would be minimized. Less wastage would take place. It means here we are able to utilize our resources to its maximum potential. Wastage नहीं होगा. If the labor force is healthy, then they would be able to work more, and if they are able to work more means work for the longer hours, then production would increase. And when the production increases, then simply the cost of produce decreases and it increases the profit margin. So liberals and radicals, the peoples, they had started emphasizing on the education and on the health of the laborers. Even after we find that labor were at the different platforms, they were divided on the many bases, the social groups. Still, they had unite many times to revolt to bring a change. The first revolt in the took place in the cotton and textile industries. You can say it took place in 1896 and 97. Strikes, we can say, textile industry strike first. Then the strike took place in metal industry in 1902. The liberals and the radicals who were thinking about the peoples and the workforce, many peoples wanted to bring a change because they were mainly perished by the aristocratic systems. The liberals and radicals were also not wanted. The political system which was introduced in Europe after the defeat of Napoleon in the Battle of Waterloo. After 1815, the type of government that was settled, we can say everywhere, wherever the democracy was established, it reflected back and came to the monarchy system. If you see the history of French revolutions, we find in 1791 constitution was implemented. In 1792 it became the republic, means democratic status. We find 1793 to 94 we say it was the Robespierre government. It means it was a democratically elected, but after the advent of the Napoleon, and it was the dictator, and when the Napoleon was defeated, In 1815, in the Battle of Waterloo, the old monarchy system was introduced, they established. That we have seen that people's radicals and conservatives were not willing to continue it. So the peoples means men and females who wanted a change in the society, they started flocking around the liberals and the radicals. It means we can say the base of the revolution did start from the industries also. It was not the agriculture. We find that socialism first say that it was a starting of socialism in agriculture, but if we say the industrial peoples, they may be first to recognize as the region of the French Russian Revolution, because they wanted to bring a change and they were being supported by the liberals and radicals. The farmers who were constituting about the 85% of the population, they had no respect for the novels. We had already discussed it. The novels got their power and prestige only because they were working under the Tsar. Due to the post offered by the Tsar, they had the respect, but the farmers were not offering them any respect. वो कोई respect नहीं दे रहे थे. They were trying to take away the lands, and they were thinking the land should be distributed among these groups, means periodically. In some areas, they combine together. Instead of cultivation separately, they start the combined cultivations. They form a commune that called Mir, and they collectively started the cultivation. And when they start collectively, just think it कि different peoples had different size of land. They combined together and started the cultivations. They started coming. It means we can say the starting of the socialism start from the peasants itself. And industrial revolution, we have got it, how the industries had bringing a change in the social structure of Russia. Industries has brought a change in the social structure of Russia. Now we have got it about the impact of industrial revolution or industries implementations in the Russian society. In the next video, we would discuss about the spread of socialism. Then we discuss about the Russian Revolution. Thank you. Go through it.